I Cut My Way Out podcast. Tune us in. We on the grind
I put the clippers in my hand. I got a whole different plan. I gotta see how this play out. Hoping that it pay out. Trying to cut my way out. Yeah, I put the clippers in my hand. I got a whole different plan. I gotta see how this play out. Hoping that it pay out. Trying to cut my way out.
I used to dream as a kid on the porch of the crib and make it big and one day endorse where I live.
Welcome back to the iCutMyWayOut podcast. I am at Kenneth Jenks, and I'm joined by my esteemed, gracious friend / brother / friend. Go ahead, give him the Addies, the barber, the Mike Jordan of the show. Happy to be a part of it. Go give him your Addies right quick.
All right, I'm Ashra Knox. You can find me Ashra Knox on Facebook. A_Knox the barber 4 on Instagram. Also beard_culture 4 on Instagram, and of course our venture site or page. I cut my way out _pod. So that's where you can catch me at.
You're doing pretty good. How's the week been?
Cannot complain, man. Got a chance to enjoy the new grandchild, so ate good. Man, just need a quick little rest. You know, not many days off. So everything's been good, man. Just
days off, all gas, no breaks.
Absolutely.
Yep. And again, this is the I Cut My Way Out podcast. You can listen to us anywhere where you can listen to your podcast. Most notably YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio. Just whatever search engine you like to use, put us in. We'll something that links to us will hop to the top. So we done worked our ass off to get it to that point, and just rock with us. We appreciate everybody that has downloaded and subscribed, and we just gonna keep it coming for you. Other than that, we have a guest that we definitely want to thank for joining us, and just get right into it. This brother, I'm looking forward to speaking to him and just asking him some questions and getting some knowledge. So without further ado, let's take it away with the fire intro.
All right. Today, after hiatus, we've been back a couple of weeks, but we haven't had a guest. This gentleman is very inspiring, very motivational. I've been tracking him down. I know he's a busy man. I've touched out and was just persistent and continued to touch out. He finally responded when he got a chance, man. And it's a privilege to have him on. Today we have Atlanta's top barber educator. He's a business consultant. He's an entrepreneur. As funny as it may sound, and we're going to get into this story, he's a retired grooming specialist. He's a content creator. He's an entrepreneur. He's a family man. He's a father, creator of Learn More, Earn More Education. He's a self-published author. Could go on and on, man. Everybody in the game follows him. He has the name Mad Educator, always providing mad content, motivational content. He's very inspirational, and he's younger than we are, but I find inspiration from him. I'm always hitting his page, and he's one of the brothers that inspires me to continue to grind to try to reach that plateau. So without further ado, we have for you Yisrael Wright, out of Atlanta, man. We welcome you, and it's a privilege to have you on, bro.
Thank you. It's definitely, like I said, the privilege is all mine. I appreciate, the opportunity, like you said, the persistence, just continuing to reach out and, letting me know, hey, I got something I want you to be a part of. And I'm always, open to, people that are trying to move the industry forward, trying to push the culture, trying to, inspire and motivate other people to just elevate in this industry. So like I said, again, I appreciate y'all, and I look forward to, getting to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, man.
No problem.
So you just you go by Israel or
Israel? Yep.
okay.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I just want to make sure
Israel Wright. Yeah.
Okay.
So man, we're gonna jump right into it. So as I've watched you, man, and just your content, I'm interested just to know about Israel, who you are, and just your background.
Okay. Well, as far as let's take it all the way back. So I'm a shop kid.
Okay.
So I was pretty much raised in around hair salon, barber shop, nail salon. My mom did nails. My cousin did hair and nails.
Okay.
My family is just like, for the most part, some of them are entrepreneurs, and the rest of them are educators.
Okay.
So it kind of like all come around full circle of why I am how I am today.
Right.
Looking at it, but I'm from Northern Illinois.
All right.
So yes, yep. So I'm Freeport. You guys might be familiar. Might have heard.
Absolutely.
There you go. So that's where I was pretty much raised there. Majority of my life, a lot of my family was out there on my father's side, and graduated from Freeport High School.
Wow.
Ended up going to Kishwaukee, played basketball at Kish.
I got a homeboy, of course, quite years older, but Chad, he went to Kishwaukee. Okay. Yeah, we're big ball guys, man. Illinois, played in high school. He follows real tough. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, I'm up there. I'm a Midwest guy too, so I definitely understand, and I think that's a big part of why I am how I am. Just that grind and that determination. Just kind of like being around hardworking people. It just kind of is a thing. You just understand what hard work looks like, and then you just apply it to whatever it is you're passionate about.
Okay.
So like I said, graduated from I ended up graduating from Highland actually. I went back to Freeport and finished out my last semester. Graduated from Highland, and then
got a homeboy that played at Highland as well.
So I was going to go to a 4-year. I was going to go to Columbia for business marketing.
Okay.
And I ended up trying to figure out I don't know what my next move is. I didn't really want to go into just full-fledged working.
Okay.
But I knew I was I got to figure something out. So I went into retail. I was retail wireless consultant, pretty much worked at a cell phone company.
Okay.
But I was doing well. I was topping the company, great at sales.
Okay.
Great at getting a crazy commission. I was only 23, so I was making some really good money at the time.
Okay.
But I just felt super underwhelmed, and I was never really maximizing my full potential. I was I know I got more in me because I'm coming from a sports background, so you always are kind of pushing yourself, trying to get better.
Right.
And then I got to the point where I'm I gotta find something to do besides just coming to work 5-6 days a week and making a check, and it just seemed like it was a rat race. I was literally just going in circles. So I decided to I reached out to one of my homeboys that was out here in Atlanta.
Okay.
And the little, even the smaller story behind that is my mom lived out here. My mom and my dad separated when I was 13.
Okay.
She moved out here. I came out here with her for a year. I moved back to Illinois. And then 1 year after my freshman year of college, I moved back out here to Atlanta. Okay. Then I moved back to Illinois. And it was kind of I got tired of one. I moved, whatever the case may be. But once I kind of figured out, okay, I need to do something, I called one of my homeboys, and he was like, man, I'm a barber, bro. I'm making $25 a cut right now. And in my head, I'm like, man, that's $50 an hour. You know what I'm saying? You could do 30-minute haircuts, make $50 an hour. What job can you make $50 an hour doing something you enjoy? So I kind of had already, I'd already been around it. I had already seen it. And I would, cut my hair and kind of, trim myself up, whatever the case may be. And I think it was one random day we were about to go out, and my homeboy asked me for a lineup.
Okay.
So, I shaped him up or whatever, and he was getting compliments the whole night. Yo, your joint is so clean. And these were I was using Walmart clippers. I'm using whatever. But again, I had an eye for it. So I had been around it. I know what it's supposed to look like. I just didn't know how to actually get there per se. But started doing that. And then I ended up cutting my dad. I was cutting his hair, and he was getting compliments on it. So I just started building on that. Little brother in the basement type, same story as mostly everybody.
Right.
And then from there, I just really said, okay, cool. I'm about to make a leap and come out to Atlanta and go to barber school.
Wow.
So, at 23, I think it was like 22 or 23, came out to Atlanta.
Okay.
Went to pro way hair school. And that's where the journey began, man. Like
wow.
it was a lot of, little stuff in between, doing little side jobs just to be able to, make ends meet. But at the end of the day, like I knew I had a passion for cutting hair once I started realizing like, I like this and I like the business side of it too.
Okay.
Being able to actually be my own boss, being able to, create my own hours, do
right.
my own thing. And I was the, first one there, last one to leave type person. So,
okay.
Yeah, it just kind of turned into what it is today, just me being persistent and having a passion for, this industry.
Okay. So at what year was it that you went down south and actually went to barber school?
2012.
2012. Wow. So you've been grinding, bro. You've been at it. Wow.
I have been at it 7 days a week. Just
wow. Okay. But, so how long was the process with barber school for you? And after that point, did you land in a shop? Like what was your next move?
Yeah, so that transition was, I was in barber school for about a year. It was almost like a year and a half.
Okay.
I could have finished in 9 months, but I was going part-time because I also was working at a shop.
Okay. So you were cutting.
Okay. So I was cutting a little bit.
Okay.
Again, because I had to do, I had to do what I had to do during that
absolutely.
time. Like
absolutely.
I definitely got to make because I was getting clients, which was crazy. I'm like, I'm really not that good in my eyes, but people were like, yo, I'm rocking with it. So I got an opportunity. One of my friends knew a barbershop owner.
Okay.
And they introduced us and was like, hey, he's in school, just can you give him a chance?
Okay.
So she, stepped out on faith, gave me an opportunity, and I did my best to just kind of, take her mentorship and take it, serious and show her that I was about, the barber life, and I really wanted to be in it for real. I wasn't going to halfway do it. I wasn't, bringing no drama to her shop.
Right.
And from there, I learned a lot of things. And then the next step was me taking another jump. Me almost in my last maybe 2 or 3 months of school, going to a shop called A1 Cuts. I don't know if you're familiar with it out here, but they gave me another.
What's the name again?
A1 Cuts.
A1 Cuts. Okay.
Yeah,
where's that at?
It's in Snellville, Georgia.
Snellville. Okay.
Yep. And they, like I said, they gave me an opportunity, and it was amazing. It was really crazy how it happened, because as soon as I got there, one of the owners, because there were 2 owners, one of the owners went to Mississippi. His grandmother got sick.
Okay.
Went to Mississippi for about 3 months and let me cut all his clients. So I literally walked into the perfect situation during that time. But again, I told you, I really couldn't, in my eyes, I couldn't really cut.
Right.
So this is all and these are people that have been with him for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And him in his own right, he's a young killer too. Like he's maybe a little bit younger than me. I think he might be like 29, maybe just turned 30.
Okay.
But he owns 2 shops. He was a licensed instructor. He had been killing it. So, but yeah, he gave me an opportunity, and I just, like I said, I did what I had to do. I was one of those people that just didn't mind working.
Right.
And it paid off for sure.
That's what's up. So as I watch you in the content, a lot of it is education. So during that time that you went to barber school, I assume that the educational side really caught you. So many people, when we talk about licensed and unlicensed barbers, a lot of people don't know, how technical barber school can be and what goes into that. What, as an educator, what was it about the educational side of barbering that really caught your eye during that time? Or was it at that time that it caught your eye?
At that time, I think I had the same mentality as most barbers, just trying to be the best, just trying to cut the best hair and put out the best cuts. But I also realized it was a gap. You know what I'm saying? Like it was stuff that people were talking about. There was also stuff that I learned in corporate America that people weren't talking about.
Okay.
So I'm like, this is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going into business, but people aren't really talking about business. They're talking about just cutting hair.
Absolutely.
So, I was able to kind of pick that up. And during that time, that's when I started doing like heavy branding. So I used the exclusive. Like I started, going by exclusive, and then I started branding everything from shirts to this and that, capes and all that. And this is while I was in school, and people were like, what are you doing? What is exclusive? And you got a logo, and you got a website, and you got this. And it's like, it seemed premature, but at the same time, it was what I knew to be true.
Right.
It was what I knew to be right, even when I wasn't getting it from my instructors in school. Now, I'm not saying that they weren't doing their job, but they were more so focused on the skill set, not the mindset.
Right. And unfortunately, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, go ahead.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in most barber schools and just the curriculum in and of itself, it doesn't teach that part. And that's the kind of the sad part, because you learn all the technical skills and all the terminology and, the bacteriology, all those things. But getting out and being a businessman, because, you're stepping out as a male or female barber, you're stepping out there and you're an entrepreneur. Most people are doing this for themselves. So that business aspect is every bit as important as the technical aspects of it.
Yep. If not more. I mean, I feel like it was never really, I'm not gonna say it was not talked about, but it wasn't taught. It was just conversations that might have come up, or like, oh, well, yeah, you should get an LLC, or you should get a business bank account. But it was never like, okay, this is the step-by-step, the same way that you're breaking down how to do, a 14-stroke shave. Like, you're not putting the same amount of emphasis on how to open up a successful business and how to set myself up for success once I graduate, because I'm gonna have to do it eventually. Or I'm just gonna be one of them barbers that just, says, hey, I'm just gonna make cash and work under the table for my whole life.
Right. Never file taxes.
Exactly.
Try to find a way to buy a house on the down low, a car, in somebody else's name. Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
For sure.
You could jump in at any time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Israel, I just I kind of just have a few questions that I normally ask the barbers and the educators. But so you said you were an athlete. So were you cutting when you was, still hooping? And I asked that question because, some of the previous guests we've had, that were athletes, they always talk about, cutting in the locker room before the game to make sure they're fresh before, the big game. Who was Freeport rival? Who was y'all rival?
I mean,
I done took you too far back, huh?
Right. I was like, I don't know. We were rivals with everybody. Ain't nobody like Freeport. I mean, because I think we were playing all the Rockford schools. So
okay, that's what I was getting ready to say. And you graduated when?
So I graduated in 08.
08. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 2008. So it was some pretty good players that came out during that time. But we, like I said, our rival was definitely all the Rockford schools, from Auburn to Guilford to all them folks, Boylan. So
y'all low key. That area low key has done a good job. I know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because
it wasn't nothing else to
probably
do.
Proud of. Yeah.
It was nothing else to do.
So just back to my question: was you cutting in when you was hooping?
I wasn't cutting in high school.
Okay.
A little bit in college. Like, it was one time the barber that the whole team was going to had messed like 2 or 3 of us up. Like, just, I don't know if he was high or what was going on, but hairlines pushed back. It was bad. And I was like, well, I fixed mine. Right. And then somebody else was like, hey, you think you could whatever. So we in the kitchen doing, kitchen cuts.
Right.
And I just clean them up, whatever the case may be. And that was kind of like maybe every now and then. And then one of my roommates, his girl was like, you should be a barber. Like, way that you cut your hair is like, it's good. And that was hindsight 2020, obviously. Right. But I remember her saying that, but I'm like, nah, I'm focused on basketball right now. I'm not trying to be the barber. So yeah, like very little, every now and then, but all those little times definitely they made a impact in my decision, and they definitely kind of shaped my future when it came to the different times and different moments that I had that remind me like, dang, I actually have been doing barbering for a very long time. Wow. I just wasn't taking it serious.
Right.
Yeah, I just kind of try to pinpoint times where people just have that revelation, of when they take that leap of faith like you did. So,
right.
Yeah, like I said, I wish I would have maybe made a decision earlier, but I feel like I made it at the right time. Like I was
going to say timing is everything, man.
Yeah, it is. Like I was in a space where I was like, I need something else. Like I was literally yearning like that next level of life. And I feel like if I would have done it right out of college when I first graduated, like I was being told to do,
right,
I wouldn't have had the same passion for it. Right. I would have been young and probably would have,
or maybe the same success.
Maybe, maybe it would have happened sooner. I don't know, but
this is my thing. I think we're in the golden era of barbering.
I agree.
Me personally, I'm 44. I've worked in local school districts. I coach basketball at the middle school level and the high school level. I've been a licensed barber for over 20 years, and I've always cut. But in the last two and a half years, I went full time. Just my kids older, everybody out the house. Just said my wife said, "Look, get out there and jump." And
right,
I often said, "Well, man, I should have been just doing this full time earlier." But I'm not sure that the grind, the passion, like you were saying, and now where we're at in the industry, I think it's perfect timing. So just to segue into that, because just for the listeners, if you don't mind, can you tell us how old you are?
I'm 31.
So you're 31. So now we're getting ready to hit them with the Mike Tyson uppercut. So you're 31 and you're a retired barber.
Yes.
Talk to us about retired barber, how you were able to do that, switch lanes still within the barber industry and have success in what you're doing.
Right. So I've been doing, I guess let me see. I took my first legitimate one-on-one course. This was in 2015, I want to say. And I took it with Morano. I don't know if you're familiar, probably. I went and studied with him for a day. It was just a day course. It was maybe 6 hours or something like that.
Okay.
First big investment I ever made. So it was about $2,000.
Okay.
Flew out there for the day, came back. And the thing about it wasn't like some of the services I did not know about.
Okay.
Some of the services I remember learning in school, like facials and different types of. One of my instructors, she was big on shampoos, so like scalp treatment and stuff like that.
Okay.
She was, they were dropping the gems, but he just put it together in a curriculum form, and that was the most effective way for me. And then that just gave me that oh man, I could be teaching what I know too, because there's stuff that I'm doing that people are like, yo, it's dope. How are you doing it?
Right.
And I'm just like, I just do it. I don't know.
Right.
So I took the time to really put together my own program, like my own curriculum for people to learn through. Wow. And that's why I came up with Next Level Learning.
Wow.
And I guess the transition was me having that light bulb go off, like, man, okay, I have a shop, I have my own men's grooming spot I already have. How can I be more effective? Because being behind the chair, you're there all day, but I got a full staff. So I have 6 other barbers, plus I have, receptionists, you got, videographer, photographer, we got, all these different pieces to it. But I'm like, I can't really be effective behind this chair because I'm booked. So if something needs to be done, if something needs to be handled, a call, or somebody coming in want to do a face-to-face, whatever, You know, I'm in the middle of cutting hair.
Right.
So I'm like, how can I be more effective, you know, maximizing my time? And then also it's like, you can't really pour into your staff when you're booked like that, because we're getting back to back clients. And it's like, if one of my staff have a question or they want to offer service or they want to learn something different, they don't have that person to reach out to. Everybody's just kind of like learning from each other. Like me, everything that I learned, I want to be able to pour into them. Right. So yeah, that kind of happened. I had a mentor that really like, he's like, man, you gotta get out of the day-to-day. Like you have to step away from the business, because if you don't, you don't know if it's actually gonna work or not, because you're there all day, every day.
Right.
And it was just that realization that like, if I have to be there all day, is it really working? Or am I just there to micromanage it and to make sure that everything is going the way, you know, so setting up systems, setting up processes, setting up structures, so I don't have to be there for it to still work. And then I just realized like, man, I could literally supplement my day-to-day with my clients and just focus on barbers. You know what I'm saying? Focus on helping them. And education is so important. Right. You know, it's never gonna not be a thing. Wow. So yeah, I kind of put myself in that position and saw like, okay, cool. How can I make the same amount in less hours doing something that I really enjoyed doing, which was education, and I figured it out. So, you know, that really helped me transition into my first part of retirement. Obviously, it doesn't mean I just sit at home and not do nothing.
Absolutely.
But
right.
It's you know, how can I make it make more sense than what I was doing before? Because that just kind of shows the different level of growth in my career. Absolutely. The fact that I don't have to be here. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it happened. Yeah, man.
So I'd imagine if you were that passionate in the educational aspect of the profession, that when you went to, I always ask the barbers, were you a good student when you went to barber school initially yourself?
Yeah, I was relatively good. My thing was I was like overly ambitious, not in a bad way. I was just like one of those people that were like, during school, I was going to shows and expos, and I was always, if I was ever missing school, it was to be able to go and do something else related to barbering. So I would go across the country and go to different, you know, classes, and CT barber battle, go to Vegas for an exotic show, go to Florida and Texas, and I was all over the place. Wow. But it was because I had such a passion for it, and I wanted to do more than, you know, the average barber. So I know I needed to stretch myself and go and put myself in those places and positions. And if I see these are where the top barbers are, I want to go be a part of that. I want to go see what they're doing, what they're talking about. You know, so that kind of opened up, and also opened up my network. You know, now I know barbers all over the country. So that definitely helped me a lot.
Right. Nice. So I was actually, and that was a good question, because I was going to ask. So a lot of barbers would say, you know, your transition has been a short time frame, man. You've done some amazing things, from going to not barbering early to hitting it at 2012 and hit the ground running, right? So I see you have, you have a lot of influence in the industry. You know, you have connections and followings and relationships with who's who in the industry. Was a big part of that. How did you gain the moment? How would you say you gained the momentum, especially in such a short period of time, where you could walk away from the day-to-day part of the chair and be comfortable with saying, okay, I have enough to still maintain financially. You know, I have the connection, I have the knowledge, I have the following to still maintain. How were you able to gain that following in such a short period of time, and just your name in the industry, period?
Man, God. For real. I mean, that's it. I mean, really. I mean, he just, you know, being able to be confident in myself and try to put myself around people that are, you know, trying to better themselves, trying to go to that next level, trying to elevate, but also trying to connect. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people might disconnect and be distant because they feel like they're so, you know, whatever. Like, once you find that good core group of people that are okay with sharing information, or hey, I want to invest in you, or hey, I want to, you know, help you during this process, because I see something in you, the potential is there, whatever, like you got to really hone in on that. And I think me just being, transparent with them and letting them know what I was trying to accomplish, I was always able to find the right people. I was always putting out the good energy that people want to either be around or associate themselves with. So that, that definitely helped me. Like I said, me just focusing on, I know where I'm trying to get. I just got to figure out how to get there. That's it. Like me having that end goal in mind, knowing that, I'm not trying to do average stuff. So that kind of helped me, distance myself from stuff that I knew wasn't going to help benefit my long term.
Wow.
So I was always able to kind of identify, like, okay, yeah, if everybody's doing this, I'm going to do the opposite.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make sure that I don't even want to fit it. Like, I want to be the oddball. I want to be the person, because that's usually the person that ends up elevating, because it's like, dang, okay, they created their own lane.
Right.
So, yeah, that's really what I wanted to do, is just make sure I wasn't being compared to, the next person because of me trying to be like them, like create my own thing. And that's what it seems like I've been doing. So I'm gonna just keep doing it.
That's, man. Congratulations, man. So
Thank you.
A question, me and my partner, we often talk about, we live, are you familiar with Champaign at all, being from Illinois?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure, yeah.
So with it being a smaller community, right? We oftentimes, I've been so close to moving. I just opened a shop actually June 1st.
Okay, congrats. Congrats.
And appreciate it. And it was kind of, it was God's thing. I was ready to go. I was ready to move. Georgia was one of the places I was looking at. Arizona was another. And it was really close, but things had been going so good. It was almost like, look, God said, for the time, this is where you need to be. Mm-hmm. Could Yisrael Wright, that we're speaking to now with your success in the industry, could you have accomplished that in your hometown?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, I wanted to separate myself on purpose, and then the fact that I had that outlet or that resource, which was my mom, her being here, that gave me that out. And I think everybody has to figure out, like, if you have somebody, you got a family member that you can stay with for 3 months or whatever the case, just do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If it's going to really help you, because it is tough, but it's also tough to stay. Right. So it's like, a lot of people will get comfortable and be like, oh, okay, this is kind of like this is my hometown. This is where I'm from. All the people know me here. I don't want to start over. Right. But it's like, do you want to continue to do the same thing, or do you want different results? So I knew I had to make that leap eventually, but I didn't. I said either I was going to make it going to Columbia, or I was going to make it, taking a chance on myself and doing something that I had grown a passion for, because I knew I wasn't going to the league. Right. You know what I'm saying? I was 5'10", 150 pounds at that time. Like, I wasn't going. And I was like, I got to make a decision, because stuff's about to get real. You know what I'm saying? Like, basketball is over. Life is about to, like, really get real. So I knew I had to make a move, and I'm thankful that, one, that my mom was here, but two, that it was a open arm situation. She welcomed me to, hey, take your time, whatever you gotta do. I'm here to support you. Whichever route you take, and you gotta appreciate those people. That's why I bust my ass the way I do now, just to be able to, do little things for her, and obviously my ultimate goal is to help her retire. But it's one of those things where, when you have even just a little opportunity or a little resource or connection, like, sometimes you just got to take it, man. Right. You never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know. That could be the thing that really changes your life. And because I had that resource, or I had that out, my life has been completely different.
That's what's
for
up.
Sure.
That's
man.
What's up. So with the whole retirement thing, and so you've still been in the industry, how were you able to maintain financially? Was it a thing, one of those things like, look, I'm feeling this, I'm gonna jump out here, I got my barber shop, already going, I'm gonna jump, a leap of faith. How was it to be able to, financially, was it a struggle at first and it gradually grew, or did you continue to hit the ground running? How did that work for you?
I think it's just really a mind shift, honestly. It's like, okay, I know how much I can make behind the chair. Looking at the numbers, okay, cool. This is how much my classes are. How many classes do I need to do to add up to how much, I was making behind the chair?
Okay.
And from there, then it's just figuring out like, okay, what type of education do I want to offer? Plus, you gotta think I got books, I have the right gloves. So I have products, I have other things that also create, income. So even with the books, I can go do speaking engagements. I can do, but me not being behind the chair really opened up more opportunities, because when I'm working, obviously my hands, I can't talk, I can't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if I have more time, then it's like I can create more opportunities for myself based off of what I've already created.
Absolutely.
So I've done, pretty well. Honestly, I've done pretty well. And now it's just time to automate everything to make it to where it's like, running without me really having to be there.
That's what's
up. As of now, it's been working, man.
That's what's up. And so when you made that decision, you had already built up your following. So you knew, look, I'm already doing some classes. Now let me just go full throttle.
Yeah, like I said, I've been doing classes since probably 2000, right when I took that class, 2015. I think 2 weeks after I took that class, I came back and taught a class. Right. It was a one-on-one. It was my first one-on-one I had ever done, but it was somebody that was like, hey, yo, I know you just went and learned this. Can you teach me? And I was like, man, why not? So yeah, that really opened up doors, because then it was like, dang, okay, well, I can do a class for $1,500 for 5 hours or whatever the case may be. And this makes way more sense than cutting, to make $1,500 in however long it's going to take. And that was back then. Now my classes are a lot more shorter, because I know I cut all the fat out. I give the people exactly what they need. Right. Then I was just trying to like tell them everything I knew. Right. But you learn your process, you learn your systems. Now I'm even helping other people teach classes. So it's definitely dope. It's definitely dope.
That's what's up. So you got a question?
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
So I'm always just trying to pick people's, the journey. So just out of curiosity, I mean, we up here, of course, I guess maybe even everywhere, it's a migration, to Atlanta. So if you don't mind me asking, what took your mom to Atlanta? And then the second question is, when you started putting the classes together, can you just kind of be a little, I would like to just know, like, did you have a team? Did you, like, how did it all come, from an thought, an idea to actually
to fruition?
To fruition.
Okay. Which part of the, like, did I have a team back then, or do I have one now?
I mean, so when you pretty much said, I need to get from behind the chair, I have these other aspirations and, gifts that I can give to the industry. I guess I'm asking, take us step by step to from how it started, from the thought, of course, and to the steps that it took to really come to fruition, to be where you're at, doing it full time now. Because I just want, I want the listeners to, because we talking about the success and we celebrating the success, but I know it had to be some peaks and valleys in this whole process.
Absolutely. So the first part about the how my mom got, well, I said my mom and my dad separated when I was 13. Right. So that's what brought her out here. And then one of her best friends was moving out here already. So it kind of was like one of those situations where that was like my auntie, and they, pretty much was like, hey, let's just, grab a spot together and, see what we can do. Both of them taking a chance, getting into a new space. So it all kind of worked out for the better. And then as far as like the team and whatnot, yes, I did my best to create a good team of trustworthy barbers and just people around me, from brand managers to videographer, photographers, and but before all of that, I was doing everything myself.
Okay.
So, but what I always tell people too is like the persistence and consistency is what I think drew people to me. So where they're like, like my videographer and photographer, they came out of left field. They came out of nowhere and were like, hey, we want to do, some free work for you, man. We see what you got going on. We love it. Can we just shoot some free content for you? This was like 3 years ago. Came out of, I didn't know them from a can of paint, never saw them before. Their work was amazing. Like all the content that you see that that I post, videos, like that's them. And, for, I want to say maybe about a year, man, they were doing it for free. I would give them haircuts, just kind of bartering and using what I have. But I'm like, man, I can't pay y'all right now. Like, I want to be able to continue with you, and your work is amazing, but I probably can't. Whatever your rates are, I don't think I can pay it right now. Like, I just don't. Like, don't worry about it. Like, we just are bought into the vision. We want to be a part, and we want to just keep. But what I did was, and this is the importance of networking and connecting people. I gave them all of, like, anybody that I knew that needed a videographer or photographer, I was just dishing them out, like, literally on some point guard stuff, like me playing basketball. So I would give them, like I literally was like getting them gigs with Home Depot and getting them gigs with, some big companies and corporations and people that were like in my network that I built over the past years, that needed content because they're seeing what I'm putting out. And they're like, yo, who's your videographer? Wow. So I'm like, I can't pay y'all out of my pocket, but I can definitely do some referrals. Right. And make sure that y'all are straight. So that worked for some years. That definitely worked for probably like the first year and a half, 2 years before I could put them on payroll.
That's what's up.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah.
So what were some of the, besides not really having the capital, what were some of the rough points? I mean, because I just want the balance, because I know everything is did not come easy. Like, I mean, what were some of the
let me think.
pitfalls,
There's so many of them.
Obstacles. I call them obstacles.
Yeah, that's all it is. I would say during the construction process, I had a contractor that left with a good lump sum of money that was supposed to do some work and did not. And it put me back so far behind, literally like probably 2 or 3 months behind, because they left mid-project. Like they were supposed to do stuff and just disappeared. Wow. Probably it was like 35,000, like just vanished. Wow. So, yeah, but that was definitely one of the, adverse moments. And that's one of many. Even before that, transitioning from, because I was in a suite. So before I opened up my shop, I was in a suite. Okay. And, coming down to those last days to where it's like, okay, hey, your lease is about to be up. I know you're trying to get into this new spot, but luckily the owner, we were on pretty good terms. So he was like, hey, I'm gonna move you into this other suite for, next couple of weeks. I know you're talking about your transitioning. I understand. Just keep me posted on what's going on. And he let me rock for maybe like a month and a half. He didn't even charge me. Wow. Didn't even charge me at all. And then he paid me my what's it called? The deposit back. Right. And it came at the perfect time. Right. I mean, it was like out of nowhere. I think I might have been walking into the store and I know I had invoices to pay and this, and it was just, I think it was like $750 or something like that. But it was still like the perfect time because I'm like, man, this could go towards this and take care of this person to pay this deposit, and, stuff like that. So it was a bunch of those times. I could list 100 of them, but that's the importance of like the whole journey, like that whole process is going through those different times. It's just, and I'm not gonna say it makes you numb, but it definitely makes you appreciate the good stuff. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? When you got to go through the BS and you got to go through those times where it's like you can't really control some of the outcome of some of these things. Right. You still got to keep your head. You still got to do what you got to do because at the end of the day, like, can't quit. Like that's not an option. So
Right.
you got to keep going. You got people relying on you. You got family. You got stuff that still got to get done. And then you've already invested so much time, energy, and effort. You can't just be like, oh, well, it's too hard.
Right.
You got to keep going.
So got to keep going. Okay.
Before we continue, I just you good on time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, this is the I Cut My Way Out podcast. We joined by brother Israel, and we everywhere where you can listen to podcasts. Just want to continue the conversation.
Absolutely. So can you tell the listeners, tell us about your classes, the power calls, the book that you've authored, just kind of what you have going now that you do on a day-to-day since you were able to retire from being behind the chair, and how everyone can access those opportunities if interested.
Right. Yeah. So the power calls are definitely a good option. Like just consultation calls for barbers, aspiring barbers, whether they are young, old, experienced, fresh in the industry. Just giving them insight on, how to elevate or different things that they might not be, talking about in their shops or in their areas. Those are $100 for 30 minutes.
Okay.
So it's obviously a super intentional conversation. It's not just getting on the phone and talking about all your problems. Like I request that the person comes up with three specific questions that they have.
Okay.
And then I can answer them obviously way more intentionally.
Right.
Instead of just giving them a bunch of random information.
Right.
Then the book, Entrepreneur, What I Wish I Would Have Told Me, is a 12 key intangibles to entrepreneurship. So is really breaking down like the process of how to start a business without putting any money down.
Okay.
So obviously the intangibles are things that are already in you. You can't touch them. They're just there. So like your energy, networking, trust, all the stuff that I talked about, before was really just like I compiled it into a book, and I was able to build this behind a chair.
That's what's
up.
You
know what I'm saying? So I wrote it while I was having conversations with clients and family, and the person that was just about to go to college, the person that just got out of jail, the person that just got their first big job, person like all those conversations compiled into like finding the silver lining between, okay, man, this person is successful because of this. This person is successful because of that. This person is about to be successful, or they're unsuccessful because of these things.
Right.
So yeah, all those things played a part into how the book came. But like I said, being intentional behind that chair really helped me just build out the entire book, which is crazy because nobody during that time was even talking about writing books. Right. And doing it at, I think it was like 27. And it helped me a lot, being able to, again, getting speaking engagements and going to schools and speaking at, Paul Mitchell and, just places that I probably would not have been able to get into if I didn't have that book. So
that's big. How can we all access your book? I would definitely like to purchase it. I haven't been through the link tree in depth, but I would definitely like to purchase.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely go to the link tree for sure. Okay. It's in there. I'm pretty sure it just has my book. But if not, you could just go to my website. It's IsraelWright.com, first and last name. Okay. And that would be the fastest, easiest way. But if anything, you could DM me, and I could go from there.
Okay, cool.
I try to sign on the books.
Okay.
Make sure I write a note in there and ship it out within the same week.
Absolutely. That's what's up. So on this journey for you, I have a few more questions. Any questions you have, do your thing. Who along your journey, who in the industry have been your mentors and people that you kind of look to pick their brains and things of that nature?
Like I said before, Marana was the first class that I went to and actually learned more than just the haircut.
Okay.
So then after him, I would say Marcus Harvey. He's definitely been super impactful in my career, just being able to get me to see the other side of this from a business side.
Okay. He's definitely both of those GOAT status. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. He's been big. I have another that she helped me out a lot, mentored me when I went on set, when I was working on set. Her name was Shanika. She was my department head when I worked on Atlanta, when I worked on the TV show Atlanta.
Oh,
And
you worked on Atlanta?
Yeah.
I didn't
I
catch
was the
it.
barber for Atlanta. Yep, I was the barber for Atlanta the second season.
Really?
Yeah,
I
so I
just
did all the cuts, everything for that whole second season, which was really dope.
That's what's up,
But
man. I just binge watched I watched the first season, then fell off and just binge watched that about
Yeah.
a month and a half ago, man.
Hey,
And just
yeah, so
doing what you do, your content and everything, I imagine that brings those type of opportunities.
yeah, I mean, it was a referral. Luckily, you know, one of my friends, he wasn't able to do it because he was working on another
Okay.
show, Tariq Navar. He was working on another set at the time, so he threw the oop and I was able to do it. But you know, working on set, working around Donald Glover, working around, you know, so many different other
Wow.
big name celebrities, it was dope. Just to kind of see how they carry themselves, you know, the little things, just the details. And I think she was one of the first people to tell me, like, hey, you're not a barber, you're a groomer.
Wow.
And I think that might have been when I switched from calling myself a barber, a master barber, to men's grooming specialist.
Right.
And it was just the stuff that I was doing it, but I really wasn't. I didn't think of anything. Like I said, it's sometimes I just do stuff and people will say something and I'm like, I guess that's what I'm doing. But
Wow.
that was one of those times. She was like, yeah, you're a groomer and you need to understand that. And she was definitely very pivotal in that next phase of my career. Because after that was when I had just moved to the city.
Okay.
I pretty much moved to Atlanta for that production because I was living in Snellville at that time.
Okay.
Which was maybe 30, 40 minutes away from the city. But we were doing call times at 3 a.m. I don't know if y'all familiar with like 7, but 3 a.m, 4 a.m, having call times. So having to drive maybe like an hour,
right,
maybe an hour, 30 minutes, just depending on where we are, wherever the set is at. This is at 3 a.m.
Right.
So I'm like, I gotta be more like equal distance to some of these places and kind of centrally located. Plus, I needed more accessibility to my clients that were living in the city or clients that were, you know, coming in town, because I had people that were flying in, driving out to Snellville from the airport. It was almost like an hour.
Right.
So they're like, hey, can you come to me? And I'm like, oh, no.
Right.
You know, you got people coming in from different states that want to, you know, that follow me or that, you know, are referrals. And they're like, yeah, man, I'm trying to come to you, but, you know, it's just so far. So I'm like, okay, well, I definitely need to get in the mix. But that definitely helped me. Once I did get into my suite in Atlanta and then working on set, it just, everything just came together, man.
That's what's up. Man,
but yeah, I would say those two.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say those three for sure were a big impact. And then I mean, I've had outside ones that are focused more so on business.
Right.
You know, my aunt, she was very impactful too, just kind of getting me to shift my mind from a $20 barber to figuring out like, okay, why we charge $20? Why? And I didn't have an answer. She's like, well, don't. You know, and that was
right.
Well,
that's what helped.
As a client that's not a barber, you know, I hope it was fun while it lasted for your clients, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was very short. It was a very short time. Like I said, I might have charged it for maybe the first month, and then after that, you know, I was charging more than the barbers that had been cut for 10 or 15 years. But it was because I couldn't make sense of why I was charging.
Right.
Especially when I knew what I was going to offer and what I was trying to do. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense for me to just, because they're doing it, I have to do it.
Right.
Or because like it seems like it's a norm, but nobody can tell you why that it's supposed to be that much. Right. So I get the market kind of dictates it, but at the same time, it's like if you're adding additional value, then you get to kind of set your own standard. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't for everybody. I wasn't trying to be for everybody.
Absolutely.
So the people that valued it, they didn't mind paying more than $25, $30, $40. And this was, you know, in 2015. So
acquired taste ain't for everybody, man. You know what I mean?
Everybody not gonna eat steak. Some folks like they like the Big Mac, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So just one quick question before you continue. You've been very humble, even in talking to us, and something that stuck out. You said, I didn't realize, people were complimenting my clients on my line-ins, your cuts and things, and you were just like, it's okay. Like you just really never saw yourself as really being nice like that. So has that changed? Do you, with everything that has come your way, just even though you're not behind the chair, did you ever start believing it one day? Like not arrogantly, but just with everything that came your way, like, okay, I'm pretty good at this now. I know this.
I think it happened more so after, like the reactions and the requests and, when people were like, hey man, I'll pay you whatever just to get a cut. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like it's dope, but I think it was just, you never really realize what you have until you don't have it anymore. And I think people don't have good barbers. Like they really, you value it. It's one of those things that you will rock with one person for the rest of your life. You have those stories that people, hey, I've been cutting him since he was 6 and now he's 45 or whatever the case may be. Like you have those stories. Those are things. So I think that was kind of a lot of my clients, they knew, they were like, well, we know you're not going to always be my barber, but it just hit different when you stop being my barber, because then it's like, where am I supposed to go? So even after, I might have referred them somewhere, they're like, it's just not the same.
I was just that was going to be my follow-up question. Like, did you give your clients a 2-week notice? I
let them know. I let them know, but when I had to stand firm on it, because they were pulling out the stops, just trying to, like, man, if you could just fit me in here, I'll come with you. I'll pay you, $250 for a lineup, whatever the case would be. They just, which was cool. It was cool, but I was also just like, I had to say no. Like I had to stand firm on that, because if I do it for one person, I'm gonna have to continue to do it for the next and next and next. The next thing I know, I'm gonna be right back in there, doing that same hours. So it's tough sometimes, because it's just like, man, I know I can make, $1,000 a day if I wanted to, just cutting hair, but at the same time, it's like I'm gonna go back into that circle of doing the same thing I was doing before, which is gonna really hinder me. It's gonna slow me down from the connections I need to make, different stuff I need to learn about business outside of just barbering. And it makes you comfortable. So, my biggest thing is just being uncomfortable as much as possible.
Okay, and my last question before I so with the classes, with just, I'd imagine you have to own your skills. Like, if you're doing a class, you might have to pick up a clipper and like, I do this. So because you're not in the chair, do you still find time to really just cut, even though you're not, doing it full time, like, or you're retired?
Not really.
Really?
Not really. I gave all my clippers away to my barbers that were in the shop, everything. Right. But yeah, every now and then, but it's very
so is it
rare.
Like riding a bike? Is it because you're still around the game that you probably know, like, I can still do this really, really good?
Yeah, I think I was doing it for almost 10 years. So it's obviously there are certain things and, stuff, but for the most part, now 2 years from now, it will probably be a different conversation. But right now, I could still pick up a pair of clippers and be fine. But like I said, not doing it for a longer time, obviously I'm gonna be a lot more rusty. The game will probably change 2 or 3 times by then. Especially just from enhancements to, different tools that are being used. I think everything's wireless now. It's just a lot of different changes in technology for what's going on industry-wise. And then you got that whole new wave of YouTube barbers that are like, they've changed the game, because now they are self-taught. They're not going through the regular traditional school systems. They're still putting out heat though. You know what I'm saying? There's barbers that are like, I'm never going to school, but I can cut, and they really can.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I got just a couple more. We're not going to keep you much longer, man. We appreciate it. Again, this is I Cut My Way Out podcast. We got content creator, entrepreneur, educator, man, Mr. Do It All, Yisrael Wright. What's been your greatest accomplishment with all that you've been able to accomplish in the industry?
Let me see my greatest accomplishment. Oh, I don't know, man. That's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, obviously, I could say being a father is probably one of my, greatest accomplishments. Just being able to have 2 girls and
Absolutely.
be there for them, and I think that's something too. Like being able to retire has just given me more time to spend with them, even if it's only a couple hours. Those are hours I didn't have before.
Right.
Being able to go to some events that I wasn't able to go to, like that. That's stuff that I appreciate because I missed so much.
Absolutely.
Even if it was just time for myself,
Right.
I missed out on that because I was just catering to everybody else and making sure that everybody else was, good. But I think the retirement's probably been the biggest accomplishment on top of like fatherhood and being able to just have more control of my time. That's always, to me, a blessing because I just know that there were times when I was 10, 12 hours every single day, 7 days a week. And it was normal. You know what I'm saying? It was regular. Like, hey, that's what I got to do. But now it's like, now that I've kind of taken more, I guess, taking advantage differently of my time. Now I can see like, okay, man, I really can, go to the baby shower. I really can go to this, or I can do these things, or, this birthday party. Before it was not even an option.
Right.
I'm definitely grateful for that. That's for sure.
Okay. That's what's up. So I have 2 more questions. So although you don't actively barber anymore, if there was one person from any era that you could cut just once, who would it be and why?
That's a really good question. If there's one person I could cut, wow. Man, that is crazy. That's a good question. One person I could cut. Probably, and it sounds crazy because I think he's bald, but Magic Johnson, that's one of my favorite.
That's what's up.
1 players, but 2 entrepreneurs. Like he's one of my favorite business owners or businessmen. Just the way that he, operates, how many different ventures that he's gone on, just how he, he's just relentless. He's been relentless. He's continued to set new standards when it comes to being a Black businessman, entrepreneur, father, all that good stuff. And, I definitely would love to just, if I could cut him on a weekly basis, man, there's no telling where I would be in life. Just off of the conversations, off the conversations, off of just the network and the, different things that I could pick up from being around people like himself.
That's what's up. So for me, my last question, with so much that you've accomplished in such a short time, what's next for you, man? What are your future plans from a professional standpoint?
Man, that's a great question. I think the next thing is really just multiplying what I have now. Like I want to be able to obviously have multiple locations. That's one thing. 2, I want to be able to, grow my educational platform to be able to have that like be a thing in schools and, from barber colleges to, cosmetology schools, also to get my book into schools as far as like a curriculum. Because the thing about it is like, yes, it is focusing on entrepreneurship, but it also is giving some life skills and some life situations that people should probably focus on more as far as just actually being more successful in life, like not even monetarily or financially, but just being able to have, more of a network and, have less trust issues and being able to monitor their energy and stuff like that. Like all of it really is relevant when it comes to life, period. But I think that's another way that I can kind of impact people at a different way, is being able to utilize the book and be able to have that be a resource, or that be a reference point when they ever needed some information or some mentorship. They can always go back to that. And again, just being a dad, man, being a dad and enjoying this part of my life, being 31, but still having, responsibilities. So I want to make sure I can enjoy it, set a good foundation, but also a good example for my daughters to see, hard work, to see what it looks like, to see, what a starting from zero to building something big looks like, and them just being the recipients of whatever I'm able to do with, whatever I'm able to acquire. So I'm excited about that. And I think that, like I said, I mean, that to me is the biggest thing, just being able to keep going. That's what's next. Like whatever that next thing is, like I'm always looking for what's going to be my next way to keep what I have, but also increase it. I want to multiply it. I want to expand it. I want other people to be impacted by it. So yeah, that's what I would say is next.
That's what's up, man. Me personally, man, I would like to congratulate you,
Thank you
for all your accomplishments up to this point. Like I said, man, I've been following you for a while. Extremely inspiring. For me to be an older barber, being older than you, I draw inspiration, from a lot of different areas, man, and a lot of different people, man. And you do that. You're extremely humble, man. Motivational, man. Keep doing your thing, man. It's been an honor and a privilege. I definitely want to tap in with you, do the power call. I think you have some things that can assist me in my journey. And so I definitely want to link up and be in touch.
Definitely.
I greatly appreciate it, man. Just you taking your time out, man. Sometimes and not really knowing how humble. I see you doing your thing and you look like you're being pulled in million different ways, but sometimes you hit people, you DM them and you never get a response, and you like, man, maybe they big timing me because they're doing their thing, man. So for you just to get back and, man, give us this opportunity to not only continue to inspire us, but our listeners as well, man, we greatly appreciate it, bro.
I appreciate y'all definitely for having me. And like I said, the questions were great, and just got me to kind of thinking about some new stuff too, man. I mean, I love being able to talk to especially Black men that are focused on elevation, man. That's the biggest thing. Like, they're not talking about who won the game last night. Yeah, that might be a conversation, but what can we do to push forward?
Absolutely.
What can we do to so Absolutely. I love these opportunities, and I thank y'all again for just having me on the show. Absolutely. And I think the podcast is definitely something that is necessary and needed, and I'm glad I could be a part of it for the today.
Greatly appreciate it, man.
Yeah, just for the sake of the listeners, I mean, just give them your addies, and this is your time to promote anything through our platform. Of course, we're gonna blow your mentions up when we post it, so just give them your socials and your websites and everything where they can reach you.
Got you. So pretty much the handles across the board right now are my name is Yisrael Wright. So that's YISRAEL WRIGHT. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where you can find me on social. And then also my website, same thing, IsraelWright.com. You can find my books there, the Wright gloves. You can find power calls, just different ways to access me. And then also, I guess the latest thing I have going up in this month of July, obviously I have my regular classes, but I'm also doing some refresher courses for barbers that have already trained with me that might just need some, reminders, or might just need almost like a progress report, to where it's like, okay, I've been offering this, but how can I be better? How can I do it different? How can I charge different? How can I repackage this service? And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then the book, obviously, like I said, Entrepreneur, What I Wish They Would Have Told Me, it is available, and definitely want to make sure I can get that in as many hands as possible. I want to soon go on a book tour. I went on one in 2017, 2018, whenever I wrote the book. And it was great. Went back home to Freeport, went to my high school, went to my church, went to, different places, and I was able to get that in some hands and just promote it. But now that things are starting to open back up, I want to start getting into more schools, and especially barber college and barber schools. I went and spoke at my old school a couple of weeks ago, and I really saw the impact that it had on those people. And they were like, man, this is what we needed. So I know a lot of barbers don't really go back and talk to these students, and they're only talking to their instructors most of the time. So, if I can help impact them, but also, get the book in their hands, everybody wins. So yeah, that's what I would say is, all for me. And I hope to, hear from a lot of y'all soon.
All right, cool. Just as we sign out, man, every time we sign out, I just thank all the clipper companies, Wall, Oyster, Andy's, JRL, Formas, just everybody, Bablis, everybody that allows us as barbers to do what it is that we do and allow us to cut our way out. So we appreciate it, my brother. Be in touch. We'll send you the link. My buddy, he's gonna do the editing. I'll make sure that I send you the link as well. If you could also push it on your side, we would greatly appreciate it. And I'm going to DM you, because I also want to order the book. I would love for you to sign it. And so I'll chop it up with you about that, and the power classes as well.
Cool. Sounds good to me, man. I appreciate it.
All right, cool. You want to take us out, James?
All right. So this is our Come Away Out podcast. Great guest, Yisrael Wright. Everywhere where you can listen to podcasts, I Come My Way Out. Put us in your favorite search engine. Thank you to all our YouTube subscribers, our listeners on all platforms. Another good one.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Another
sir.
one in the books. It was great.
Yep. So, and we're gonna sign out.
All right.
Peace,
appreciate
y'all.
you, man. You have a good one, and I'll definitely be in touch. All right, appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
My mom had to do it all, working 2 jobs to provide while I pursue the ball. Hoop dreams, no problem doing my own thing. Stepped in the world to get a win for the home team. Laced the sneakers for the crowd in the bleachers. This might get away from the lesson life teaches, but 5'9" don't follow the league guideline. Heart of a champ, but I gotta tuck my pride now. Off to college for the knowledge, try my hand at math. But one call from back home really changed my path. My firstborn, now I got a mouth to feed. Told the Southeast I got a whole new route to lead. Young father, odd jobs, every day is real. Turn to the streets to try to eat or maybe pay a bill. Not proud of it, but I got it cooking good. But prison time on the mind wasn't looking good. I can't afford the price, so I tried the corporate life. Something wasn't sitting right. Every night I'm tossing light. They don't appreciate all my hard work, so I went ahead and jumped, let the Lord work. Beer culture 2020, yeah, we taking over. From the Clippers to the hoodies that be draping over.
I put the Clippers in my hand. I got a whole different plan. I gotta see how this play out. Hoping that it pay out. Trying to cut my way out. Yeah, I put the Clippers in my hand. I got a whole different plan. I gotta see how this play out. Hoping that it pay out. Trying to cut my way out. Cut my way out. Tryna cut my way out.